The city is planning to give all residents standard-sized trash and recycling carts. Would you sponsor a measure in the city council telling the city to add a third cart for food waste, which would then be sent out for composting, or composting bins for people's yards? As you answer, keep in mind that composting would cost us less per ton than what we're paying to burn our food waste, and that it would substantially reduce greenhouse gas emissions.
What I would prefer to do is that we have a pilot program, and we invite, there are a number of companies out there. Some dispose of the organic, others recycle it, and some use it. They would sell the organics to farms, some would use the organic to create better compost, and others would burn it. So there are companies out there that if a group like QCAN or others, if they agree to have so many customers for this, there's one company that sorry about that. So I would prefer to have a pilot program, and if you get a company, if sufficient enough residents sign up for this program, they will recycle the school's organics at no cost. So there are some exciting opportunities there, and it's a terrific way to save money. DEP indicates that perhaps half of our trash is organic. You take that out, we can save a tremendous amount of money. But I think we have to make sure that it's workable, because that could have negative consequences if it does not. So I think the combination of a private company and what I suggest may very well work. Thank you.
I agree that if there's better ways of disposing with trash, we definitely should do them. I don't agree with things like buying special containers with RFID chips on it to track people as to what they output. That's simply invasion of privacy. Yeah, I believe that there should be some sort of a method for separation of trash, and it should be disposed of properly. And if it can be composted, great. I'm all for that, but it requires research.
If you could you repeat the question? Could you repeat the question?
Yes, sorry. So to increase our low recycling rates, the city's planning to give residents a standard-sized trash and recycling carts. Would you sponsor a measure in the city council telling the city to add a third cart for food waste, which would then be sent out for composting, or even composting bins for people's yards? And 30 seconds.
As we do this new recycling program, this would be a great time to install this program, food waste, as that third measure. We're looking forward into the future here for the next 2 years. It's something we have to consider. The mayor's looked at this. The city council's looked at this. I've talked about this prior. 2 years ago, it was in the newspaper, the Patriot Ledger, talking about what we're going to do down the road. You as activists have told us, I've sat down in QCAN's living room in the meeting talking about this exact measure. I'd like to institute it into the next sphere with our recyclability and our food waste and our new recycling program. Thank you.
Thank you. A couple of years ago, I took a trip out to Seattle and visited friends out there, and I was very surprised that they had curbside composting. That was very new to me. I actually came home, went to DPW. We were selling the composters out of DPW, bought one for my own household waste. I think this is a great creative idea. I'd love to see something piloted.
The answer to the question, yes. Absolutely, we should be doing composting. I feel like a broken record because I've been talking about this so much, but we really do have net savings from composting. Yes, on the onset, it's a little bit more expensive because you are buying different bags. They do not have chips in them. Ours didn't anyways. But again, at the end of the day, we saw real savings. As a business, what we're paying for our waste every week ended up getting reduced in less than a year, even though we were paying for those new bags. Quincy has an opportunity to be a real leader in this right now. We have examples from the West Coast. We can set the example on the East Coast for our neighbors here in New England, and hopefully even further. We can go ahead, start composting in the buildings we currently have, and make sure that any new buildings coming down the pike are also doing that, and offer incentives to residents across the city and make sure that they understand, yes, it might be expensive on the front end, but in the long run, you will end up saving money. So yes, absolutely we should. Thank you.
I think absolutely we should too, but I'm going to take a step back. Before we jump into the let's get going and have it on the sidewalks, I think we really have to look at what Cambridge has done, what Arlington has done, what Somerville has done. They've been successful. They started a pilot program. They got grants to do it. They investigated what their community's desires were. They found that they educated the public and they brought people to the table and they had people ready to do the pilot. We need to do that here in Quincy too, because the way you make something successful is by bringing it to the people who want to do it first and let them show you the way. If you just go out and just make it something for the community, we're not going to be successful, because if you're enforcing it on people, they're not going to do it, and we're going to have really small percentages of people doing it. So we really need to look at our community, see who wants to do it, and really educate the population on this pilot program about how it can be successful and how much money it can save. But I would want to encourage the conversation, bring it to the table, and create a real success plan for us so we're out of the gate, we are successful.